Hey everybody, welcome to Impossible Coin. It's Wednesday, something which I think that I say with increasingly less certainty as quarantine drags on. I know that it is a day. I know that I spent part of the day working. I know that I spent part of the day sleeping. I know I spent part of the day laying on my couch watching Star Trek Voyager. And I spent other parts of the day probably like way too hot and drinking Gatorade. I am Brian Cartwright. I am joined by Rocky Hardy.
Yeah, that's me. What up?
Tegan is not with us today. Yeah.
She is okay, I'm pretty sure, but she had, minigame circumstances.
Yep. Those are the circumstances. Rocky, you appear to also be experiencing Wednesday because it looks like you have played an anime fighting game.
Oh, yeah, man. Guilty Gear Strive did their beta last weekend, and I got one of the codes, so it was cool. I got to fuck around with it.
What about it shiver your timbers?
Well, there's a couple of things. I think the game is fun. I think it handles, impact really well. Like, whenever you land a hit, it feels really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, it's possibly oversimplified.
Mm-hmm.
Guilty Gear is a fighting game that's pretty complex. There's a lot of stuff going on at any given moment. More so than, most other anime fighters. But it has, especially with, Xrd and, Xrd Revelator, balanced its complexity and its reward. That there was, a meaningful amount of complexity that you got to for a significant reward. And playing Strive seems to lack that complexity. But there are other rewards. The game is a lot faster now. There's so much more ways to build up resources. And matches are pretty quick because the damage is really big.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is that for newer players, depending on who you ask, is if you play with someone at your natural skill level, you'll have faster games and you'll be able to dig into it more. But I fear that there may not be that much to dig past after a certain point. Unlike other entries in the Guilty Gear series or fighting games in general. And if you end up in a really mismatched fight, what may happen is that you end up getting touch of death. There aren't really any reliable touch of death combos yet. They're usually really conditional. If you are able to force someone into a corner or bounce them off it a couple of times. But I know So Bad Guy has a 90% combo right now. And that's kind of scary, especially since Soul Bad Guy is the Ryu of the game in that most people know how to play him and could easily be used to pub stomp people. We also got a hands-on with a redesigned Mei, which is really fun. She's a young woman with a very large anchor that summons marine life to fight with her.
1 second, I have to get an internet picture.
Of Mei? Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
Let's see here. Guilty
Gear Strive.
Mei. So with an E or a Y?
It's with a Y, but it's M-A-Y. The month. And, Mei's cute, but her, attacks are well varied. I actually really like the way that her kit feels. I just wish her combos were a bit longer. Or she had, more diverse routes that she could take. She basically has, 2 distinct combos. Maybe 3 or 4, counting, what you can do with, the Roman cancels. Which is, one of the things you need resources for. But her attacks are fun, and her supers are neat. She summons a blue whale for one of them, and an orca for another. She has a projectile. She actually has, a charge move that's, a forward, dash that has the sonic boom motion. You know what I mean? Back forward. And she has, an uppercut version of it, too, which is kind of cool. I think it's a really interesting choice to make command grabs the Shoryuken motion. Because that's weird. You run up to someone and you're expecting, the Shoryuken, and, you have to put in the motion and you get the command grab. I don't know. It's definitely threw me off for a bit. The online lobby, while it has, a cute idea, you're in some sort of, house or building, and you jump around on the floors with a personal avatar and, ask people for matches. But so many people can be in the room at once to the point that, you can't see individual people or, ask for matches appropriately. A lot of the time throughout the beta, when you tried to interact with people, you would fail to connect with them. And it looked like there were a couple reasons for that. One, like, they may not actually be in the room anymore, but the game still registers them in the lobby. Two, they may actually have already accepted an invitation from someone else, and, like, their avatar's still on screen. It's just, it wasn't effective. Like, it was kind of a nightmare to do. But, you know, the game itself was pretty fun. I do like playing it. I'll probably pick it up. But I'm not sure... Because there's some other characters I was interested in, like Faust, for example, who's like a mainstay of the series. He's like this creepy dude who's like something between like a joke character and like crazy experiment. He doesn't feel finished. Like, to be honest, like the only completely polished characters, like if I ship them in the game today, I'd be fine with, are probably like Soul Bad Guy and Kai Kisuke. But Soul Bad Guy also has like, you know, 5 uppercuts. They're just like slightly different. Kai Kisuke feels done. I feel like Mei could be fleshed out a bit more. Same with like Chips Enough. But like Faust feels like he's firmly in the development phase. Like he had the same number of moves as everybody else. And he had some interesting mechanics. Like he'd summon scarecrows and he could basically make you guess where the mix-up is. Is he going to appear in front of you? Is he behind you? Is he above you? His command grab goofily, like, put an afro on, like, whoever you grabbed, and it's, like, huge. It's, like, almost like another torso attached to the character, and it expands their hitbox that far, so there's, like, afro-only combos that are, like, significantly longer, which is kind of neat. But his pokes don't feel right, and I don't think his, like, gameplay makes a lot of sense right now. The way that they have their little meter thing next to the character, it looks like he's kind of like a mid-range poke character with mix-up potential. But, like, Faust has traditionally been, like, a gambly type character where, like, you throw out items and, like, hope you get something crazy. But that didn't feel as important. And, like, his loop of, like, poking opponents and, like, playing keep away wasn't clearly defined either, which I don't feel great about. Outside of that, I mean, the aesthetic is really good, and I like the look for it, and I like the stage transition bits of it. I just wish that, like, I had a bit more time to enjoy them, because, like, if you're forcing a stage transition, like, if you're actually knocking someone into another side of a stage, like, you're basically almost won the match anyways, just because of how high damage is at the moment. And the UI isn't great. Doesn't feel like it conveys the right amount of information at like a glance.
Right.
But like looking at it, I guess it works. Like it's not the worst UI in the world, but it's definitely not good. And I hope they improve upon it going into the beta. Like I put that on my survey, and I hope that other people that were in it had a similar experience. But I don't know. I had a good time with it. And I hope it improves as it gets closer to release, whenever that is.
Is there... Okay, so like, to an outside observer, it feels like these Guilty Gear games come out roughly every 15 minutes.
Maybe with the Revelator stuff. Actually, I'm kind of hopeful for Strive. While most people don't like the season way that games have... been releasing new content, I think that could be something that would be really good for Guilty Gear because they have such a deep cast. If they like just expand over time, like I hope that like the microtransactions shake out differently. Like season passes has worked for Street Fighter, but they've also just done like straight up new characters like nickel and diming you like in Dragon Ball Z Fighters. I hope there's something else that they end up doing with it. I hope that, but what I mean to say is that I hope Strive is around to stay for a while because they have done that in the past where they'll like iterate maybe every 18 months with like a new subtitle, and it's obnoxious and like the fans love it. Like they love it because it's obnoxious, but like it's probably not the best thing in the current climate.
It seems to me that like the direction that fighting games is moving is release one and then use that game as a platform for content over the life cycle of a console. And I'm willing to bet that, like, some of that has to do with the fact that, like, despite all the bitching and moaning about it, Street Fighter V sold well upon initial release, and its various, like, content distributions did okay. And then when they put together something which might as well be called, like, Street Fighter plus all of the existing DLC plus some new DLC, but hey, that's a really long title, so why don't we just call it Street Fighter V Championship Edition? That did well too. So it kind of sets a precedent, and it feels like if it were a few years ago, the Dragon Ball fighting game release would have been Dragon Ball fighting game release, and then some number of months, probably less than 24 months later, exact same characters, but with a few extra characters thrown in, treated as an entirely new release.
Well, that is how Dragon Ball had been working before. Like, I mean, Tenkaichi and Budokai and etc. And while Street Fighter's probably one of the weaker examples of that model, I would point to Tekken as, like, one of the better examples. It did something similar. Like, they put out a release, but the major difference between Street Fighter V and Tekken 7 when they came out is that Tekken 7 felt like a complete video game. When they would iterate and they add a new character, it was always a character that was, like, almost completely out of left field, like fucking Noctis, and they didn't feel like they were rushed. They felt like a real character release. They were, strong on release, which is something that I would actually point at Riot about, where, like, they wanted people to buy it early because it's new, but also because it's strong. And then they, like, basically nerf them into, like, the middle of the cast. But yeah, like, when those characters were added, they felt like full characters. They were pretty strong outright with, like, some gimmick. Like, Noctis was, like, teleporting, which people yelled about for, like, 2 months, and then everyone learned the matchup, and we moved on. But I think fighting games as platforms may be a better fit than just, like, annual releases. Because you're right, they weren't actually new bespoke video games. They were the same characters with, like, an extra 4 or whatever.
Right.
And, like, if you wanted to play with the 4, then you needed to buy the additional one. But I think the cool thing about it being a platform is that when new characters come out, people that are happy with their current state of the game still get their patch updates, Like, they still are able to play online. Mm-hmm. It's just now they have new matchups. And if you want to play with those characters, then sure, you have to pay the extra money. But if you just want to, like, be a part of the ecosystem, like, you decide, like, I'm a Jin main for life, you can just keep on playing. More power to you.
Right. I kind of feel like when there were, like, four different Street Fighter 2 cartridges for the Super Nintendo.
Right.
It was in a space where there wasn't really an effective way to release, iterative content, updated content to video game consoles. There was not a way to be like, hey, here's some more stuff for that game that exists.
Yeah, you need a new card.
And the reason that it was relevant was because arcade operators were like, my Street Fighter 2 machine is not making as much money as it could. Capcom, is there a thing you could do to my Street Fighter machine to reinvigorate it? And at which point they would update the board. So, like, where home users were, like, stuck needing to buy these, like, static full purchases, arcade operators were essentially enjoying, like, what we now have as home users, which were an iterative update, like an existing piece of software had something new soldered to the board, and then new key art put on the side, and then ta-da, now it's a whole new game.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of feels like fighting games just, like, clung to an old distribution model for, like, well past when it needed to, and it really took, like, getting to this generation to realize, like, oh, fighting games can be, iteratively updated, and content can come out later and piecemeal and rebalanced, just like every other genre. It's weird. It kind of feels like whenever I hear about Guilty Gear, it feels very old-fashioned to me at this point, just because of, like, how many of these things there are. Like, when you said, like, Revelator, I'm like, weren't there at least 3 called Revelator? And, like, this is how much their product can alienate outsiders, because the titles of their games are, like, incredibly confusing. And, like, I'm just going to read some Guilty Gear title names.
Sure, man.
Guilty Gear Strive, Guilty Gear Xrd, Revelator, Guilty Gear Xrd :sign, Guilty Gear // Guilty Gear accent core.
Right.
Yeah, like Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2, Guilty Gear // accent core plus R.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck do they think understands these?
Well, you're not supposed to understand them. Like, that's the joke. Like, everyone that pretends to understand them is like that dumbass on the courtyard that said that, like, he found the secret Star Fox level. Like, they're just being a jackass. Like, that's all it is. I do hope at some point there is, like, a Guilty Gear-like anime, because there is, like, a pretty long and convoluted story with all these characters. And I think it would be more entertaining than the Blaze Blue one, if we're being honest. But, I don't know, man. Like, they're fighting game characters. They're wild. They do crazy shit. One dude's like deadass a lion man. Like, let's go nuts.
And it's kind of a shame, too, because I hear a lot of good things about Arc System Works games.
Yeah, they're great.
That, like, you wouldn't think it to look at them, but despite, like, the, generally exhaustively long inputs for an anime fighter, that these are accessible games. And, like, I had a chance last year to start screwing with an Arc Systems developed game when they released something that wasn't a fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
They were lead developer on River City Girls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Y'all know how Brian feels about beat 'em ups. So,
I mean, it was a good game, man.
Yeah. Like, oh, this preserves all of the charm of the River City series. I feel like there's, and we've talked about it before on this show, like a general discontentment with Capcom as the lord and master of the FGC scene, and that, like, Street Fighter's dominance is one of, by default, people are like, well, Street Fighter's the game, because Street Fighter's always been the game. And I don't expect any kind of, like, Arc Systems game to, like, take up the banner and become, like, the game. But I feel like there's a space where, like, Tekken becomes the game, and then an Arc game becomes the Tekken.
I don't know, man. Like, Dragon Ball Z Fighters had more entrants in, like, Street Fighter year before last, and almost the same this past year. And, like, Smash is trying to, like, break off and make their own thing, and they may actually have the population to do it. Maybe to a casual observer, like, Street Fighter feels like the game because it's been around the longest. But fighting games, I feel like, is kind of, like, etching out its own space in its own ecosystem. Like, the numbers aren't quite there yet. That's definitely true. They're not in a space to compete with, like, Riot or, like, EA.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as, like, fighting games go, like, I think the experiences that are available are a lot more democratized. I feel like it's a disservice to consider, like, Street Fighter the fighting game.
Well, does it still close Evo?
I mean, it did last year. No, it didn't last year. I think Tekken closed last year.
Well, then I stand corrected.
I have to check. Also, like, while Evo, I guess, is the biggest tournament, Evo's even been democratized now. Like, it got split in half. Oh, actually, now that's what I remember. Tekken didn't close Evo this past year, but it closed Evo Japan. I mean, honestly, I can't remember viewership numbers. I'd have to check. But I'm pretty sure Tekken was, like, the more interesting tournament. Like, I think it had, like, better stories and better players attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because, like, Punk was a big story, like, 3 years ago, because, like, he was an 18-year-old kid, and he made it to grand finals. And then, like, he ended up fighting against Takeda, whatever. I'm getting into nuance. It's not super important. But the idea is that, like, I don't think that Street Fighter has, like, a monopoly on, like, the great fighting game story anymore.
It'll be interesting for me to, as something to keep tabs on, as somebody who's, like, kind of casually curious from afar, because I guess we may be moving into a new console generation this fall. I mean, shout outs to the coronavirus.
Well, like, Microsoft and Sony are playing chicken right now, to be honest.
Well, Sony did announce that they're going to be reducing supply of the console, which I consider to be the first step toward, is there a new console this year or not?
Right.
Yeah.
But, like, Sony's, like, or, like, the insider from Sony basically said, as long as Microsoft is like putting out their console this year, we're putting out our console this year. It's possible that like Microsoft could decide, you know what, this might not be a good year, and Sony would call it off. I sincerely doubt that Sony goes forward if Microsoft doesn't.
Yeah.
Because like they're in a precarious position, like generally, and they're taking on more risk by forcing a release this year.
Either way, whether it's this year or next year, Jesus, think about that. Like, what kind of spot software developers are going to be in if those new consoles aren't out this year?
It's going to cause a problem for like any indies that really swing for it.
I'd see the problem actually being the majors, because like we could tell from like the last couple of years at E3 that like large developers were already pivoting away from the PS4 and Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we would get to June and we would get to E3 and they'd be like, hey, everybody, welcome to E3. We'd like to show you Burnout Paradise Remastered. We assure you that's the biggest thing we have to show right now. And you're like, okay, so basically all your dudes are off making things for these new boxes. Because this is an industry that got caught flat-footed when the Xbox One and PS4 came out, and people actually wanted to buy them. Because the major software publishers thought that what was going to happen was that the PS3 and the Xbox 360 were going to be the last viable generation of consoles, and that people were just going to start paying thousands of dollars for microtransactions on their phone. And then that didn't happen, which is why at the beginning of last generation, there were so few games. And so because people overcorrected this time, it seems to me that because it's possible that the console generation might get delayed by a year, that, Jesus, we could have a year where it could be a really big Christmas for indies, because people don't want to go out of their houses, you know? They don't want to get exposed to the Rona. And so they're looking for stuff to put on their consoles, and it could be like, well, you know, I could risk it all to buy Madden, or I could, like, download some fun stuff on my machines.
Well, like, if I really think about it, I think the only people that are really in danger, like, as far as the big publishers, are, like, Sony and, like, people who are, like, you know, hitched to Sony. Naughty Dog, I guess. Microsoft benefits from, like, a connected ecosystem.
Yep.
So they can put stuff out on Game Pass, which allows people to, like, stream higher-end stuff.
Yep.
Or they can, you know, just release it to PC, which is something they would probably be happy to do. So they can take the hit for a bit. And, like, the Switch is actually fine, I think.
Yep.
While there are almost no Switches anywhere, to the point where people are fucking, like, just making them out of replacement parts. The Switch eShop is probably busier than it's ever been. And more people will probably flood to it if they just want to put it on a device somewhere.
Yeah.
Even then, there's still Steam, there's still Itch, there's still Epic that will, you know, happily take releases in the PC ecosystem. I mean, people that are tuning to, like, the PS5 / what is it called again? Is it Xbox One X?
Xbox Series X.
That's right. Xbox Series X. Excuse me. Yeah. So, like, maybe those are just, like, delayed and they prioritize, like, you know, PC releases. Or, like, you know, Microsoft's just like, it's cool. We'll just put it on Game Pass for the time being or whatever. And then, like, maybe it would be really cool. I don't know how willing they'd be to do it, because you remember CD Projekt Red confirmed that the Xbox Series X version of Cyberpunk 2077 will be a free upgrade for, like, Xbox One users.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool if that became, like, position that Microsoft holds for a period of time in light of the Rona. That'd be a nice thing for them to do. I don't think they will, but, like, it'd be cool if they did.
I think there's a decent chance of it.
Mm.
One of the things that they have said regarding their software is that the first generation of games, which is scheduled for the Xbox Series X, they said all the software runs on Xbox One. And people initially didn't know what to make of it because they weren't used to, like, hearing language like that used by a video game publisher. But then it started to make more sense, which is like, oh, okay, so if this is the same piece of software, if I walk to a store and I buy a boxed copy of a video game, or I download a game to my console, then what it's doing is it's optimizing to run for different specs. It's like the difference between running a game on Ultra and running it on Potato.
Right.
Like, so it appears to be that, like, without explicitly using the same language CD Projekt Red did, Microsoft has already confirmed the same business philosophy by saying that all of the boxed games that will be initially coming out for the Xbox Series X, those same discs can be, inserted into an Xbox One and installed. That, like, you'll be able to play the new Halo on the Xbox One, which I think is interesting because it means that, like, Microsoft is positioned differently than Sony, because if Sony was pivoting in a way where they weren't truly treating their new console essentially like a computer, like an incremental update, and just be like, okay, these are all the same family of boxes, and this is just the better box, that Sony would be kind of hard fucked, because they wouldn't be able to tell people like, oh, just go buy this PS5 game and put it in your PS4, but Microsoft would be like, hey guys, we got new Halo this Christmas. I think Sony would like to interest you in possibly playing Ghost of Tsushima again, maybe? I don't know. They're having a good time over there. Those kids. Those scamps.
I mean, and I acknowledge that this might not mean much at the consumer level, but I would be concerned about what technology Microsoft is, like, using there. It's true that a lot of games, especially like the big blockbuster games that are coming out, aren't playable by disc alone. Like, you need to, like, insert the disc, it's installed, it connects with the server, it downloads the rest of the game. And I'd be interested if the Xbox Series X technology, what it was actually doing, is it that it's turning down the specs and allowing it to play on the 360, or if it's like creating like a streaming connection to a Microsoft service.
360?
Not 360. X, whatever. They're all off-grade boxes to me, man. The Xbox Series X like connects to like a Microsoft server and like downloads the same game and then just like checks the specs and then runs it on Potato. Or if it's like they take the Xbox Series X game, puts it in the Xbox One X, like gapped from the Microsoft server, and then it's playable once the disc's installed. Because what the PS5 aims to do, it looks like, is to run it like a beefier computer, so that you would just be able to install it and play, even if you required an initial download. But for someone that's like trying to buy a game and put it in and play, like, it's not going to make a huge difference how that works, but I'm interested in how that works.
Yeah, I definitely want to know how the pizza pie is made, So, but also this is a giant tangent, because we were talking about Guilty Gear.
We were.
Yes, and then we were talking about fighting games. Where that led to, and I guess I distracted myself from, is the future of fighting games in a culture that like seems to like lead by releasing one big fighting game and then treating that console generation as a platform. I'm kind of curious as to like what fighting games will look like in the next 24 months, because we should in theory be getting a new generation of consoles. And so like I'm curious if like, Bandai Namco and Capcom respectively will start like winding down, their big games of this generation, and then be like, okay, here's, Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8 because we want the fighting games out for this console generation. How does the virus impact the development of those games? How does the virus impact the release schedule for those games? Like, I'm curious as to how the coronavirus will impact the FGC.
So I think it's going to stretch for a bit longer than that. Like, I think Street Fighter 4 and Dragon Ball Z Fighter specifically have about 3 EVOs left in them. I don't know about Soul Calibur 6, and Tekken 7 may be cooking something, but I don't have enough information to point to that. But with Street Fighter specifically, the reason I think it's going to stick around longer is because Capcom, in addition to like running the Pro Tour and like servicing Street Fighter V, they're also trying to like get this Street Fighter League thing off the ground. And while that isn't like specifically a Capcom production, like it's mostly like run by like indies like Team Spooky that focus on like broadcasting and whatnot, I think they're going to spend more time even with the PS4 because it's only going to get more affordable, which means that it'll like democratize the people who have access to the game and maybe even expand the scope of who is able to like interact. Like the same way that we saw, you know, like Arslan Ash from Pakistan show up. And I don't see them cycling it out based off of the console cycle. Actually, I'd have to check, but I'm willing to bet that the next fighting game iteration will probably be about maybe like 3 to 5 years into the next console cycle. Like, because I don't want to say that like fighting games are poverty because that's not exactly what it is, but it's just that like a lot of fighting game players, like, because they still are trying to stretch it for like to get every like bang they can for their buck, tend to not jump on the new console immediately when it comes out.
Right.
They tend to hold on to like the older technology. That's why, like, you know, we had people fucking playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 forever, like a solid decade before like anyone else shifted into like the next game. So I don't know what'll happen to like big events like EVO and DreamHack and like CEO, because like they specifically, like when they draw up the rules, they're just like, we're playing on PS4, and like they allow adapters and stuff to like use like, you know, Xbox pads and stuff like that, but like they usually like pick a console to stick with, and that doesn't usually happen at the drop of a hat. Like they don't really just turn right when like Sony like drops a new console or something. So I think Street Fighter 4 and Dragon Ball Z Fighter specifically will be around for a while. Once again, I'm not sure about Tekken. And it would also be a real shame if Grand Blue Fantasy, which like just fucking came out like last month, suddenly gets dropped because there's a new console cycle. But I also don't think that's going to happen either. But I don't know.
Wild.
So, that's right. We haven't gotten a chance to talk about this. You have dipped your toes into the world of turnip stocks. How do you feel about that, Brian?
Well, I completely overslept today and failed to buy turnips.
Rip.
Yeah. And I can really use them right now because I just bought the back room for my house.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And I'm decorating the room with a comedy gimmick. Mm-hmm. I'd like to be able to pay off that gimmick as quickly as possible so that way I could, you know, kind of buy out the rest of my expansions. Finally got to a place in the game or I'm comfortable decorating.
Okay.
Like before, like my house just kind of like looked like so many Animal Crossing houses do for people who are just like running around primarily focusing on like generating money, which is like a shitty bachelor's pad. You know, I had like a cardboard box with like a moth on top of it and like my stupid like camo
wallpaper.
No, it's like a bed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like
a futon.
It's not like like hammock is not the right word.
Okay,
but it was like this little shitty pop up bed that looks like it was like made from like tent parts, and it was just.
Do you
like,
mean a cot?
Yeah, that's the word. Thank you. God.
No problem.
Yeah, so I had my fucking hammock, my camo cot, and I was like, all right, I got my little goofy house, and everything doesn't fit together. And so I was like, all right, you know, I don't have a ton of different varieties of stuff in my catalog yet. So like, why don't I like go strip mine an island and get some stuff in like a unified set, which I do have, and then customize it and, you know, just start to have a nice little house. And I got this rocket ship and I put the rocket ship up. In like
Wait, you have the rocket? Like, did you like craft it or did you like buy it somewhere?
A neighbor gave me a rocket ship.
Well, okay, it's not going to fix your money problem. Like, that's probably something that's just going to take a while to deal with. But there has been a thing that's been happening a little bit in New Horizons called catalog parties. Mm-hmm. It is a social thing, because it's based off the idea that when you're playing Animal Crossing New Horizons, when you pick up a piece of furniture, even if you don't keep it, it becomes a part of your catalog with, like, Nook. So you could basically pick up things that you don't own and then put them back down. And later you could go home and order them from your catalog and then you'd own them. So you get, like, a bunch of people and they just, like, fill up their inventory with, like, you know, rare and otherwise interesting stuff. And they just, like, kind of stand around each other and just drop the things. And you just pick them up one by one until, like, now with, I don't know, 8 or so people, let's say you take all 40 slots, you now have potentially 320 new types of furniture you could potentially request. It is a little cumbersome, mostly because of the way, like, leaving and entering islands with, like, its forced cutscene goes. God, I hope that gets patched at some point. But it is a pretty efficient way of expanding your catalog.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to go down that dark path. I was already aware of the idea of catalog parties.
Mm-hmm.
I have a new least favorite genre of YouTube video.
Okay.
Which is Animal Crossing Island tours. Because, like, I see these videos with all of the, like, the ridiculous extensive terraforming and just, like, it's something which obviously, like, is a year's worth of work, at least in the eyes of Nintendo, accomplished in the space of a few weeks. Especially considering that, like, a lot of them include, like, seasonal pieces of furniture, which they haven't even been available in the game yet because they've manipulated their clocks. Like, a good example is like, I saw somebody had used, like, a special burning pile of leaves, which will be available in the Halloween event to, like, be the kind of, like, cool looking light source for, like, a beachside bonfire.
Sure.
It kind of seems like the catalog parties are the gateway drug to doing that. And treating the game that way. Like, in almost every one of these tours, these people had, like, set up these, like, little sequestered areas of their town for hosting catalog parties.
Sure.
You know, like, welcome to Catalog Square. And I'm like, this is so weird. It seems to be like there are these, like, little things that this community all does. Like, you know, like the catalog part of town, they put up the big Godzilla somewhere. They all, like, run up to the Godzilla. They're like, oh, praise Godzilla. And just, there seems to be some kind of, like, weird internal meminess to the, like, I'm not ready, Rocky, for the idea of Animal Crossing yuppies.
Well, like, buckle up, bro. They're here.
Yeah, and it's just like, I remember a game that was about fucking off, going fishing, and digging up things.
You can still do that. It's an options available to you.
Right. It seems to be that there's, like, this level of, like, man, Rocky, people have been, there's been some time people are dumping into this game.
Yeah, no, they are busy. They are booming. It's real. I've seen, like, you know, Animal Crossing Twitter giveaways where they're going to give away, like, 800 tickets and, like, 45 million bells. And, like, I mean, that 45 million, like, obviously can't come from turnips. Because, you know, if you time travel at all with turnips, they instantly rot. Like, because they don't want you to make that much money that way. But, like, you could do that with tarantulas, you know? Be a time traveling, like, imperialist or whatever the fuck. But, geez, man. Like, I know there's people that go hard. But I look at them the same way that I look at, like, you know, speedrunners or whatever. You know? Like, I sat down, I watched a speedrunner Hollow Knight where they 100%, sorry, not 100%, it's like 112% the game in, like, an hour and a half. And it was a dope thing to watch for an hour and a half. It was like a movie. And, like, I realized, like, once I went back to playing Hollow Knight, I can't play like that. Like, that's just not the way I'm going to live my life. But I do know that these people that did this, they threw, like, 200 hours at this game to get this 1 hour and a half speed run. And I respect that. But I don't think it necessarily has to change the way that you interact with the game. I understand that it can, and, like, sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it's for the better. Like, I mean, I started figuring out Sekiro because I started watching a couple people play Sekiro, and I'm like, this shit's nuts. I gotta get here. Like, I feel like Animal Crossing is still one of those games where you can definitely spin your own orbit. even if, like, you know, other crazy shit's going on in the background.
Okay, so it's a game which is ostensibly a single-player experience. Like,
more often than not, yeah.
Yes, you are defining how you interact with your town. You're like, okay, I've got these residents. This is what I do with them. You know, here's where I harvest my fruit. Here's where I plant my money trees. Here's where I find other ways to, like, satisfy myself in the space, whether it's fleshing out your museum or spending a lot of time with the various visitors who come to your town. You know, like, there are different ways to find pleasure with interacting with this, what feels a lot like a toy, because, like...
Yeah, Animal Crossing's a toy.
Yeah, like, there's no winning Animal Crossing, but, like, it is a videoed game, but as far as, like, there being a win state, the win state is happiness. But even when, like, New Leaf came out, we hadn't reached this, like, hyper-actualized, like, need for herd mentality on social media. Like, it was still mainly, it seemed to be like a place to hang out. But, like, I go on Twitter now or I go on Instagram and I'm overwhelmed by how people treat that space as, like, okay, it's like people log onto Twitter and they're like, how quickly can I become like everybody else? And, like, it's just like, it seems like everybody's experience with Animal Crossing is this, like, rushed panic to strip mine and terraform their islands and turn them into these, like, nightmare dollhouses as quickly as possible. And it just makes me want to burn it all to the ground.
Okay. I don't...
And this is by no reflection to say I dislike Animal Crossing. I'm having a great time with the game.
Sure.
I think this is me saying I hate people.
Yeah, but, like, who are these people, man? Like, where are they? Like, I don't...
You want me to send you some YouTube videos?
Sure, man. Like, send me some YouTube videos. I'm just like... I've seen some people do some interesting terraforming stuff, and I'm like, usually my interaction with it is like, oh, that's kind of cool. I was like, I didn't know you could bend, like, the earth around the water that way. That's kind of dope. And then, like, I don't know, I go about my business. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, the closest example to, like, what you're describing that I've seen is, like, that one girl who got really mad at Oscar because she didn't want him in her village anymore. And she tried to do, like, the old school way of getting rid of Villager. Like, she just, like, talked to him incessantly, hit him with the net or whatever. And then eventually this person got a dialogue from Oscar, says, like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You've made me sad. Please leave me alone. And she posted it to her Twitter, and she felt really bad. And then she got ratioed, like, fucking, like, 10 times replies versus any other type of interaction. And she changed her, like, display name on Twitter. It's like, I apologize to Oscar. I'm sorry. That was a lot. It also happened, like, in week 1. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't feel this, like, race to the finish thing. Like, it's not a part of my experience. I'm trying really hard to understand it.
Okay. I'm going to put a link to this video on our socials this week when this episode goes live.
For sure.
But, like fucking, like, Robin Leach, Lives of the Rich and Famous style presentation. And it just feels like you're watching, like, some basic cable fucking reality show where they're just, like, running around this Animal Crossing island. And I can't remember if that's the one where they, like, excessively manipulated their island population to end up with all cats or not. Okay. But, like, I think that's the one where they're like, oh, look, 10 residents and they're all cats. And I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, how? Like, how much work did that take? You know, like, whenever, like, somebody would move in and be like, hi, I'm just a loner bear. And you just, like, sit there, like, hitting them with, like, the net for 80 years.
This is the cat village, by the way.
Yeah, fuck that village.
Okay.
Fuck it.
Oh, man. This does seem like a lot.
Yeah, look at it. Like, the internet is full of that shit. That is Animal Crossing Twitter. That is Animal Crossing YouTube.
Okay, yeah, I don't spend time with Animal Crossing YouTube. I think I watched that one guy, Game Explain, when I needed to learn more information about, like, what was going to be in the game, and then I got the game and I'm just playing it. Yo, that Haikyuu, like, uniform kind of looks fucking dope, though. I kind of want that pattern. These, like, photorealistic, like, paintings, though, are kind of a lot. I don't know how to feel about those. Wait, I think that's the Futaba outfit, too, from... Yeah, this guy's wild. But yeah, it does look like a lot of work. Yo, that pattern, like, with the Korean, like, lettering, like, that's hand-done. That's pretty fucking nuts. I'm muting the guy, so, like, I'm not gonna listen to him. But, like...
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here, dude. Did he make magazines? Sure. Is that what I'm looking at?
Mm-hmm.
Because these have, like, patterns on them. Can you put patterns on magazines?
Yep.
Dude, let's make a magazine. Let's, like, distribute it, like, everywhere. Why not? See what happens. I don't know. This looks like a lot of work. But, like, I mean, definitely time traveled. It's a 5-star island. It looks really nice. Like, I hope they had fun.
And I guess the thing is that, like, in a space now where, like, the way most people react to things on social media is to say that there is a right way and a wrong way to live your life and a right way and a wrong way to, like, always do everything.
Sure.
And in a game which is kind of like the core idea of the game is to divert yourself your way and experience pleasure from that. People spend, like, an inordinate amount of time on Twitter, and the way Twitter tells you to get pleasure is to be like everybody else. Like, oh, this one guy said something dumb, go join in the dog pile. Like, oh, everybody's, like, today's, like, sweet tea Sunday, post a glass of sweet tea, or go to hell. Like, I don't think there's actually a sweet tea Sunday, but, like, hey, if you're an Impossible Coin fan, hashtag, you know, sweet tea Sunday next Sunday, and show us a tall glass of sweet tea. We'd love it. We'd love it.
Brandon, I feel like you're in danger of becoming the thing that you hate.
Too late.
Fair enough.
But, like, it's kind of like the way that Animal Crossing works is in conflict with modern society.
Sure. I think that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah. But the thing is that as opposed to, like, experiencing Animal Crossing and yielding to the subtle pleasures which Animal Crossing has to offer and say, like, I'm enjoying my time with the way Animal Crossing sees the world while I'm within Animal Crossing. Instead, people are like, I will now bend Animal Crossing to my will, and I will make it like the modern world. And fuck that.
Okay.
Just plant some pears, you son of a bitch. Just like...
I mean, Brian, like, you don't have to make streets in your island if you don't want to. But, like, I also don't believe that these people that bend Animal Crossing to their will are really hurting anyone.
I think they're colonialist.
Okay.
And they're white supremacist.
Alright, that is a take, and, I don't think you're especially wrong about it, but I feel like in this particular scenario, I don't think there are victims here, which is what I want to highlight.
Rocky has discovered the first victimless case of white supremacy.
I guess, man.
Man.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. I know why you're mad. And, like, this definitely, like, reflects a lot of things that are terrible and bad about the world. But I feel like in this particular circumstance, and in this circumstance alone, they're not actually hurting people, which I think is the important detail.
No, they are hurting people.
Huh?
They are hurting people because of Hive Think. Hive Think demands that we all be the same and all do the same thing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Hive adopts a thing. You're like, well, I don't want to do the thing. It's like, well, you can either do that thing and let it bring you pleasure, or if you talk about the way you interact with this thing in public, people will call you stupid and, like, give you shit all the time.
Is that part real? That's the part that's not clicking for me. Like, if there are honestly people that are out there in Animal Crossing that are telling you you're playing Animal Crossing wrong, and, like, once again, like, the Oscar thing was a thing that happened, and I'm not proud of that, and I don't condone it, but if that, like, expands to, like, other, like, leisurely explorations of Animal Crossing, I will back off. But that hasn't been my experience, and that's what's deeply confusing me here.
Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Better than Twitter.
Well, yeah, of course it's better than Twitter. Bruh! Oh, man. But I think, like, the Animal Crossing fandom, or, like, you know, the louder parts of the Animal Crossing fandom being on Twitter hasn't been a good thing for, like, society and community.
Oh, no!
I can definitely acknowledge that. That makes a lot of sense to me.
And the thing is that, like, we should have known this would be the way. We should have, we had the technology.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, you know that story, The Monkey's Paw?
Yes.
Right? And how, like, guys like, I wish I had enough money to pay off the mortgage. And, like, his, like, son fell in the combine.
Mm-hmm.
And so that the insurance payment was enough to pay off the mortgage. It's like, aha, you son of a bitch. Like, we had these, like, Animal Crossing summoning circles.
I remember.
On Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went for like
for
7
years.
Yeah, like 7 years.
For years. And it's like, we should have known that these were going to be this, like, high energy, obsessive motherfuckers.
See, like, that part, that's still not a problem to me. These high energy, like, deeply motivated Animal Crossing people are fine, as far as I can tell. As long as they're not using, like, their influence to rip into other people that are less ambitious and less motivated.
I feel like calling it ambitious and motivated is very leading language.
Fair enough. Do you have a suggestion?
I went with obsessive.
Okay, fine. These obsessive and high energy people, like, as long as these obsessive and high energy people aren't actually hurting anyone, I figure they're fine. And, like, while they may espouse ideologies that can be harmful, as long as there isn't actual harm, we should let them spin their web in their single-player video games.
I contrast two different, ostensibly single-player experiences.
Sure.
Hitman and Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
In one, the fact that social media makes all games multiplayer opened up, like, a much larger space where people were, like, playful and silly and chill in the same way. And which one do you think it was?
Okay, man, I don't know.
It's so weird. Like, and this is one of the things that I don't understand about, I think, in general, Nintendo fandom.
Uh-huh.
Like, how high energy and obsessive it is. Because, like, Hitman people are like, yeah, man, if I can get it under 2 minutes, that'll be cool. I think that, like, one night you were even hanging out on a night where I was, like, streaming some Hitman. Yeah, some Hitman contracts. And there was, like, one that I was, like, trying to, like, get under, like, 40 seconds. And it was a cool chance to, like, you know, play in this space and let people show, like, a little bit, like, what, like, the Hitman world is like. But it wasn't ever a thing where I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to throw myself off the Eiffel Tower. But, like, these Animal Crossing people, they'll terraform their island into the Eiffel Tower, then throw themselves off it. Like, it's so fucking intense. I don't even have pears.
Oh, dude, I can get you some pears. I can do that today.
Oh, that's cool. That's great. I'd love to have some pears. Like, I'm just saying that, like, people out here creating aqueducts.
Yes. That is a lot. I agree.
They got the aqueducts, and I don't even have fucking pears, which I think is supposed to be a thing where I'm just supposed to put a gun in my mouth. Like,
what? Like, okay, so, Brian, like, I need you to take, like, 20-30% off for, like, a moment.
How about if I terraform my island into the shape of the words 30%?
See, like, I feel like Animal Crossing, while it does have, like, the ability, especially empowered by social media, to, like, inspire, like, FOMO. You know what I mean? But,
yes.
Like,
but that's all life is now.
No,
life is FOMO.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, it's not, man. Like, I don't find, even though I can acknowledge that is a real thing that can happen, I have no, like, inclination to, like, consider that a fundamental experience. And I understand that at some level it's, like, really, like, pathological, but, like, I don't...
Right.
I don't feel that way. And, like, I don't understand it. Like, I'm, like, confused and, like, the storm of emotions right now.
So, all right. I think this is something that somebody posted on Twitter.
Okay.
In an effort to, I think...
Oh, that they cover their island in, like, in turnips? Yeah, Samir does that, too. It's pretty wild. Oh, wait, these aren't turnips. What are these? Are these, like, lilies? I'm sorry, I cut you off. Keep saying
the standout for me is they have terraformed their island into an elaborate labyrinth. And Daisy May is trapped in the labyrinth.
Honestly, I was thinking about doing something like this this week because I got the recipe for pitfall seeds. So now I can just plant those in places. But like this is actually, I don't know, Brian, this is hype to me. Like I want to know this person. I want to see what challenges they can put into this labyrinth. But like then, like if that's like your actual island, that would kind of suck. And since it's like hardware based, I guess like you'd have to like buy a Switch for like your labyrinth island.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a whole thing. I'm not going to say Nintendo saw this coming because that sounds insane. That doesn't make any sense, right, Brian? Like that sense doesn't make any sense to you either.
Oh yeah.
I get that it's probably some sort of technological limitation, but I would kind of also want like a secondary island where I could keep a labyrinth. That does sound kind of cool, but it's crazy. It's definitely crazy, and like I can accept that, but like it's kind of cool.
Man, it's like, what if, what's the word again? Like, kare sansui? I'm sure that like somewhere Tegan just screamed.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
I don't know the word. What are you describing?
The rock garden. The Japanese rock garden.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, imagine one of those, and like some guy hands you a rake. Mm-hmm. And then like later on you come back, and the guy's still standing there smiling with the rake. And, like, you have the Empire State Building in the rock garden. And he's just like, yup. Like, you give me enough time with the rake and I'll do this. Like, how did you even do it? How did you even put the Empire State Building in the rock garden?
That is an entirely valid question. But I think the point where we diverge in this particular discussion is that, while historically Animal Crossing is about, like, turning your brain off and kicking it and hanging with animals or whatever, now with, like, the new gameplay mechanics that are in New Horizons, there are more ways to interact with that toy. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Honestly, I think this is like an iteration that brings like Animal Crossing closer to Minecraft.
And I should stress, like, I have no problem with these tools existing.
Sure. And
I have no problem with the idea that like some people want to interact with the tools in this way. Mm-hmm. Is also cool. But I look at the difference between, like, say, online Minecraft culture and online Animal Crossing culture. And, like, one of those is very much a monoculture, and one of those is very much not a monoculture. There isn't, like, a drive to make every Minecraft server identical.
Sure.
There isn't, like, this, like, beating drum that says that, like, you should make your very unique island very special in the same way. Like, I kind of wish that if they were going to introduce all these new toys, mm-hmm. that internal measurement metrics had been removed from the game. If you're going to do this, there should not be such a thing as a 5-star island. Like, if you're going to, like, give people this madness, then, oh, God, I don't know. Rocky, I don't know.
Okay.
It's a lot.
So, I haven't climbed the whole, like, island evaluation tree yet. Like, I think I have a 4-star island. I'm having fun with it. I'm not aware of this Animal Crossing monoculture. And, like, that may be that I'm simply ignorant. Like, and I'm totally willing to accept that. But I also possibly argue that maybe, like, Animal Crossing culture will simply diverge at a point. Mm-hmm. And, like, Minecraft culture was kind of like that, too. There was a period of time where everyone was just trying to build the biggest castle or try to recreate things. And then, like, adventure mode stuff started happening. And now, like, Minecraft has, like, a Diablo clone out, I guess.
Right.
There's a lot of ways to play Minecraft. And, like, I'm pretty sure people will find out different ways to play Animal Crossing, too.
I think it might take a couple years.
I think it'll be faster than that.
Again, shout-outs to the coronavirus.
Yeah. You obviously remember, like, Animal Crossing, like, horror house culture, right? Where there were just, like, people that just, like, turned their entire, like, village into, like, a giant haunted house experience thing. You could visit them in dreams and whatnot.
The first thing I did when I went and I met Harvey, the cool fucking...
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about Animal Crossing yuppies, like, he's definitely one of them.
Oh, hey, he's an NPC. He's not a yuppie.
Okay.
Yeah. The actual in-game characters cannot be yuppies. But, like, so I met Harvey, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this guy fucking smokes dabs all the time. But when I got to his little place, first thing I did was take a spooky picture.
For sure. What was in your picture? Oh, yeah, I saw this one. I actually didn't get it. Like, who's the squid god?
Cthulhu, man.
Oh, really? Is that what they call him?
Well, his head is he's got a giant fucking squid, man. Like,
yeah, but like, you know, I thought squid specific.
Like,
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but like, I made my little bare room. I gave them both the surprise face, you know, so they look kind of unpleasant. Put matching shirts on them. They're like these guys are up to something.
Oh man, if you want to talk about unpleasant, I did see like what's the word? Do you know what those like Russian sex clubs where they have like women in like holes or whatever? You know what I'm talking about.
Rocky, I do not know the word for Russian sex club.
Okay, but there's one of those. There's like someone did that with like the like girls of like Animal Crossing, and they just like they actually made like patterns for like, you know, the bottom halves and like put them on the walls. It was a lot. No. It was a bad time. That's a part of Animal Crossing that I know, and I'm not happy with them, and like I will spend the rest of my life trying to destroy them. But that's a whole other thing. Those guys are my problem. I don't have to deal with these like 5-star people. Like whatever. Like
oh god, it's like, you know, Vice, you know, the channel. I'm aware of
Vice. Yeah,
it's like you found the fucking Vice documentary of Animal Crossing. That's no good.
Yeah.
Oh man.
See, Brian, I fight the enemies that you can't even dream of, man. Like that's why like, these guys, they're not on my radar. But I get it. I totally understand. Brian, what have you been playing?
A lot of Animal Crossing.
For sure.
It's really been the game I've been leaning on this week. Mm-hmm. Every time I've been like, hey, I should fire a Final Fantasy VII Remake. You know, it's sitting right there. It's literally sitting on my coffee table.
It's really good.
I run into the struggle of total number of fucking inputs on my television. I'm like, I've got 3 HDMI ports on my TV. One of them is the Switch. One of them is my Xbox One. And one of them is, by default, the Apple TV. It means that, like, whenever I want to play the PS4, I need to unplug one of those 3 devices and plug in the PS4.
Sure.
I have tried to use an HDMI splitter on the television. Mm-hmm. The TV invariably reacts with, I don't know, what do you want from me? Every time I've tried multiple splitters, and it just, like, spazzes and fails to recognize the splitter.
That's rough, buddy.
So I suppose that means I could run one of these devices through the HDMI input on the Xbox One. So I would then turn on the Xbox One and then use the input.
Does that work?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, like the Xbox One was originally designed to have a throughput, so that way people could do stuff like run their cable boxes through their Xbox Ones.
Oh, all right.
The issue is that when we talk about stuff like input lag, running your device through another device means that you're getting, like, for some games, just a little bit of input lag, and for some stuff, that's no big. But for other stuff, that very much is the big.
Yeah, Brent, I've tried to play Melee on an LCD TV. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. And also, like, the Steam Link app got updated for Apple TV. Mm-hmm. And, like, Steam Link is a lot better than when it launched in the first place.
Yeah, I've actually heard.
Yeah, and so, like, by default now, it just, like, recognizes, like, MFI controllers for Apple TV devices. So I can just, like, grab my controller from my Apple TV and just stream anything from my computer on my Apple TV, which means that in addition to all the really good shit, which Apple has on the Apple TV, Apple Arcade service.
Right.
There's then, like, access to my Steam library, and I'm like, this is really making the value proposition for the Apple TV, having one of those HDMI ports, a thing. And it's one of those things where I sit there, and I'm like, man, right now, the only reason I can think of to hook up my fucking PS4 is Final Fantasy VII Remake. But I'm like, I really want to play it. So, tune in next week for the ongoing struggle of Brian's HDMI ports.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
I'm looking forward to this Culve Taroth hunt. Apparently we're going to get to kill the bitch, so I'm psyched about that. But that's happening this week. Or actually, you know what? It's going to happen tomorrow. Gang. So I'm hyped for that. Like getting coal-faced.
I've been watching Dispatches from Elsewhere. Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay. So it is a TV show based on a documentary, and the documentary was about an ARG.
Okay.
There was this alternate reality game that ran in San Francisco and Oakland. There's things about the game which are absolutely still a mystery. The game started in like 2008 and like I think ran until like 2011. So people would be like wandering around San Francisco and they might see something that would like induct them into the game. Like there was a whole office building in the financial district of San Francisco that was like controlled by the game.
Okay.
Where like people would show up to like get inducted by the Jejune Institute.
For sure.
And so like they would go and they would like go to their meeting for their induction into the Jejune Institute. And at the end of watching the induction video, the video would like tell you like, okay, and now open the drawer to your right to take out the card to fill out the induction card. And one of our employees will get back with you very soon and tell you how you can proceed with your work for the Jejune Institute. When you would open it, the drawer, one of the top cards would have written in red magic marker, run, they know who you are.
Ooh.
And then like you would like exit the room, your cell phone would ring, and there'd be like, someone would be like, you can't take the elevator back down, they're waiting for you in the lobby, I'll guide you out the building, that kind of thing. And then you got thrust into this game that was like sprawling all over the San Francisco, Oakland area for like 3 years, where they would like have these like whole swaths of like real estate, and there was like even like a pirate radio station, and they bought funeral plots. There were fake funerals and bars, and existing businesses would have like objects buried in their inventory in the store that were like part of the game. Like people would like report like going to bookstores and like finding books by like ancillary characters in the game. Like, oh, I found a book by the founder of the Jejune Institute at this used bookstore. You know, and when I brought it to the counter, the guy who owns the bookstore was like, tell no one and fight against them. You could take the book for free, like that kind of thing. And
oh shit.
Like the bookstore's been there for years. Like I've been buying books from that guy for years. Like wandering through like the sewers, the whole thing. Like if you've never seen this documentary, it's absolutely fascinating.
Okay, but should I watch the documentary or should I just watch the show based off the story in the documentary?
I recommend both.
Okay.
The show kind of recognizes that it would be tough to kind of like tell like the larger story of this alternate reality game in a character-driven space. And so they kind of establish a story about 4 people who are playing the game. Mm-hmm. And they're like, here are these people playing the game. The people who are playing the game are Jason Segel.
Sick.
Yeah, you know, like the actor Jason Segel plays like the central character.
Right. Well, like Jason Segel was born to be in a show about like an augmented reality game. Like training for years.
And he comes off as this like incredibly vulnerable and sad and sensitive character. He's also the showrunner.
I also believe that. That makes sense.
Yeah. And Sally Field plays like this older woman who is kind of like reconnecting with her own personal sense of identity by playing the game.
Okay.
And then like Eve Lindley, who is a actress who has like done like nothing else. I mean, this is kind of like a breakout moment for her. And Andre Benjamin is the 4th member of the group.
Wait, really?
Yes.
All right.
The character he's playing, Fredwin, is a genius who like got his doctorate at 19 and is like a multimillionaire. He's the guy who's trying to like break the meta for the game. Mm-hmm. He's like, these people want us to play the game, but like, that's not the game that we should be playing. We should be trying to figure out who's running the game, who has the resources to do something like this.
That's a fun thing to do. I believe that.
It's wild. One of the things that the show does is like relocate the game for this Dispatches from Elsewhere show. They reset the game so it's no longer set in San Francisco and Oakland. And I think that's probably a smart move because there are enough people who played that game or know about that game, that there's a lot of affection around it and there's a lot of memories around it. And so, like, if you just start, like, showing the spaces from that game, there are going to be people who are like, well, that's not how it felt. That's not what it was like. Like, and so they set it in Philadelphia. So, like, lots of, like, Center City, lots of Fishtown. Real cool. Like, I'm a big fan of the idea of ARGs. And I think the main problem I always have with ARGs is that when you keep on pushing against the edges of them, they eventually slam up into marketing for something. Mm-hmm. You're like, surprise! You solved the elaborate puzzle on the internet, and now you know about this limited edition Cyberpunk 2077 Xbox. And, like, okay, fuck off. Like, the thing about an alternate reality game which is so appealing, the thing which is so attractive, is that it's like pushing back against the veil of reality and saying, there's something more spectacular and interesting than your life, and you are now privy to it. You have stumbled into the secret and good place, but the only people who have the resources to build, like, large, elaborate alternate reality games are essentially, like, capitalist enterprises who are trying to sell you something. And I guess the one major historical exception to this was the Jejune Institute game in San Francisco, Oakland, which still functions as a mystery. Like, who is actually running the game is still mysterious, and there was never any marketing material as part of the game. Like, nobody ever told anyone to buy fucking Tide.
Sure.
And so, like, it has a lot of, like, affection around it. And I guess I could definitely see how someone's like, well, someone should make a TV show about this game, because holy shit, like, it's a thing that people still talk about. So yeah, like, I strong recommend. I'm not sure if the documentary is streaming anywhere. It can be rented on Amazon for $2.99, or you can just buy it outright for $10.
For sure. Well, I'll give the pilot a shot and see what it's about.
Would we like to talk about news, be that what it is, in these uncertain times? Mm-hmm. Saying the phrase, these uncertain times, reminds me of one other thing I wanted to talk about here in our banter place. Because I remind myself with the phrase, these uncertain times. Rocky, can you spare 3 minutes and 40 seconds?
Sure.
Fantastic. I'd like to make you aware of something. This is also something I'll share on our social media.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is a thing I can't mute, huh?
Yeah, audio is kind of critical on that.
Yeah. Well, I don't miss commercials, so there's that.
But how about them apples? Like, I had kind of been raging against these COVID-19 ads to my wife. I was just like, holy fuck, like, these things are the worst. Just that whole, like, in trying times, remember that for 85 years, you've given us your money, and that we're better together. We can come through this as long as you continue to spend money with us. Like, wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't often ever salute any kind of marketing for doing anything at all. But there is a COVID-19 themed Burger King ad.
Okay.
And it really does none of these things that are happening in this ad. It starts off with, like, showing, like, just a guy laying on his couch, you know, arm extended, remote in hand, glazed face. They're like, let's be real. During quarantine, this is what you're doing. And that's what you should be doing. Laying on your couch makes you a hero. Burger King is here to make it easier to be a hero. At which point, they then flip the couch perpendicular. So now the couch is standing on end in this same living room set. And the person offers, like, a shitty Top Gun style military salute. And they say, like, you can come get a Whopper from the drive-thru, which will make it easier to stay at home. And I'm like, yeah, this is crappy capitalism, but, like, at least the theme of your ad is not like, in these times where you might die, and everyone might die, could you make sure to give us as much money as possible before, like, you die? Just, it had a certain measure of, like, the shitty irreverence of advertising, which is what is present in advertising when the world is, not destroying itself. And I was like, all right, this actually has a sense of feeling normal, as opposed to, like, what the faux soothing feeling of every other COVID-19 ad. So, hooray.
Fair enough.
Thanks, Burger King. So the news.
Yeah, you got first story.
Yes. Fig got bought.
Who's Fig?
You remember how the Psychonauts 2?
Yeah.
And you remember how it got crowdfunded?
What? I thought Microsoft was paying for that.
Well, before Microsoft
bought Double Fine.
Bought Double Fine, that was a crowdfunded game.
Oh, okay.
And it was crowdfunded
on Fig. You're right. Sure.
I think that if you were to ask most people where was Psychonauts 2 crowdfunded, they would probably tell you Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's a safe bet. I mean, they're wrong, but it's a safe bet.
Yes. The Outer Wilds is a video game.
Mm-hmm.
We even gave some awards to the Outer Wilds this year. Where was it crowdfunded?
It was crowdfunded?
Yes, it was crowdfunded on Fig.
Okay. Crazy
Justice, The Good Life.
The Good Life was on Kickstarter.
And it was also on Fig.
Wylan. I swear he's a madman.
Fantasy Strike, Thimbleweed Park, Hyperlight Drifter. So, like, Fig has been a whole thing.
Are they like a, generalized crowdfunding platform, or do they specifically work with indie developers?
It is specifically a video game crowdfunding platform.
Okay.
Nobody's going to be on here being like, I've created a brass key that you can use to press elevator buttons in today's world.
Oh, there's no, potato salad guy.
No, yeah, there's no potato salad guy. Like, one of the things which is currently on Fig right now is Intellivision Amico pre-orders.
Oh, shit. Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's some, like, hot color choices that are only available through the Fig pre-order.
Sure.
Anybody's going to be able to get the white Amico, but if you want it in charcoal or wood panel, yeah.
But they got bought.
So Fig got bought. And the thing which, like, makes Fig different than Indiegogo or different than Kickstarter is that one of the things you can do on Fig is invest in things. You could say, like, I want to buy points on the finished product. I want to be able to, like, get money back as an investor. Now, like, a lot of people, when they would spend money on Fig, were spending money, like, strictly as
consumers.
Consumers, and just doing, like, the traditional, like, kind of, like, bonus structured pre-order thing. But Fig's big spin, and the thing that made it so attractive to video game developers, was the ability to do this, like, investment opportunity stuff. And so it got bought by a company called Republic, and Republic has a background in doing the same thing. Republic came out of AngelList, which is where people would, like, start a company seeking, like, seed founders, first round founders, second round investors. And so, like, Republic comes from running a crowdfunding platform for exclusively funding. And so they're absorbing Fig.
Sure, Republic just got a new video game division.
Exactly. But Fig is also a lot more, like, publicly accessible, publicly visible, and has a pretty good track record for how, like, consumers and investors have been treated on the platform. So, like, if Republic was looking for a place and an identity to talk to people to make them sound more trustworthy to the general consumer, Fig would be it.
Right, but, like, is that valuable to Republic? Do they want more, like, I guess, consumer-driven investment?
I think so. Consumer-driven investment is increasingly big business.
Sure.
More and more platforms out there make it possible for people to make dangerous, low-information decisions and to engage in the world of speculative capitalism.
Right.
I'm sure that you can name websites easily where you can buy stock and monitor a portfolio and things like that. All without being a licensed stockbroker. And so, like, resources that allow for people to purchase private stock, which is not publicly traded,
right,
are becoming increasingly common. I think that the only reason I'm real good with this so far is that, like, historically, Fig has done a very good job with its risk audits prior to allowing something to even get listed on the website. As far as, like, things actually coming out that have been on Fig, the numbers are good. The ratio is better than, say, the Kickstarter ratio.
Okay, but, like, Fig's under new management.
Yeah. I am content to wait and see. Like, if Republic bought them because one of the things they're interested in is their risk assessment models and the way that they're evaluating projects that go up,
that would be a good thing.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so if they're like, oh, this seems to work well, we'd like to port this to some of our other services, like, great, because those people doing that kind of risk mitigation and doing that kind of, like, underwriting obviously know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I would see no problem with, like, broadening that approach. But if what they bought it for was, like, primarily the identity, and now they're going to lower the bar.
I mean, possibly. Because, like, if Republic wanted to do what Fig is doing,
yeah,
they probably just did a cost analysis. Do we make a whole new video game department, or would it be simpler for us to buy them and eliminate a competitor at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully it works out. That could be a cool thing.
Rocky, what else is going on in this world?
Riot, with their big 10-year anniversary, they announced that they're making every kind of video game known to man. Their first-person shooter, in the vein of Counter-Strike Global Offensive, has hit beta, and they've been allowing people into it through Twitch drops. You watch, like, a stream, and, like, you may get, like, a key to enter the beta, and then you can play that way.
Right.
Riot has clarified their stance on how they're going to bring Valorant esports into their ecosystem. And what they've said is that they're going to be in the back seat. They're not going to start out with their pro league, but instead they're going to allow other tournament organizers the opportunity to run Valorant events, some sponsored specifically by Riot, according to particular rules. We have a quote from them. They say, our aspiration is to build an esport worthy of your lifelong attention and interest. We plan to do so guided by 3 core principles: competitive integrity, accessibility, and authenticity. You know, they go through the spiel about their values or whatever. They go on to say, we're overwhelmed by the interest and excitement behind Valorant, and we're excited to embark on this long esports journey with you all. We're already hearing questions on what esports will look like, and while it's early, we'll try to share details wherever we can. As part of our authenticity principle, we want to let Valorant grow naturally. This part is bolded. We're not looking to force anything too quickly without knowing what's best for esports fans. As such, a primary focus early will be on forming partnerships with players, content creators, tournament organizers, and developers, unlocking them to help us build this ecosystem. So they've put out a document, their Valorant community guidelines, and basically what they're empowering TOs to do, I guess, is to make 3 different community competition tiers. Mm-hmm. There are small tournaments, you know, stuff like player setup stuff, things that run in cafes or community organizers put together. They're defined as the prize pool not being greater than 10 grand or its regional equivalent, or up to 12 grand in non-cash prizes. Also, no international players are allowed. They're allowed to run those. Riot's not going to give you anything, but you're allowed to say Valorant. You're not allowed to say it's a Riot tournament and things like championship series and stuff like that. The next tier are medium tournaments, which are run by middle tier businesses and brands, esports organizations, and influencers. The prize pool is greater than 10 grand, but less than 50 grand, and it doesn't have any guaranteed implications in the Valorant global esports system. Riot may assist with the prize pool, but they also grant you a different license. And that license, which is called a custom license, is shared by the major tournaments, which are run by major esport organizers. Like if you ran something at DreamHack, or like a, CEO or something, but still not like the Valorant pro scene, which once again doesn't quite exist yet. It would be considered like official semi-pro, and it would be part of the global competitive system. It would have a prize pool that's greater than 50 grand, and there isn't a cap at this particular point, but they have, more restrictions, but also like given powers by like Riot. They're allowed to use certain language. They will provide you with like a promotional material. They will promote it officially on their website and whatnot. They may, it's very clear they say they may assist with the prize pool. And it looks like outside of most standard stuff, the only things that are like strange about it is that like they control where it can be broadcast. Like for example, small tournaments can't be broadcast on anything besides like streaming. Like for example, if there was a small tournament that somehow got into public access TV, they would get in trouble. And, you can't show blood in any of these, which I assume is just to make things kosher if they decide to like air things in China. But yeah, like it looks like that they're going to, let local TOs and other organizations take a shot at it before like they try to put together a pro league, which is probably one of the more healthier things they can do. But there are concerns about people who've seen this stuff happen before, that Riot may just swoop in at the end and, basically use their ownership of the game itself, but also any peripheral like content that's created to like forcibly take control of the tournament scene once it's actually built by like TOs and like organizations that actually take the risks in the first place. Yeah.
Valorant has been kind of a weird thing because it seems to have like entirely emerged during this time.
Yes.
So I can't tell if Valorant is going to stick or not.
I think there is a dearth of competition at like the very basic level that would be like CSGO.
Right.
And like CSGO's been around for about as long as like Riot itself has been around. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say that CSGO has gotten stale, but it could use some invigoration and like, new Riot money and having like a essentially new generation of players like interact with these types of systems may be a good thing for the genre, especially people who have been soured over like Battle Royale. One thing that I do want to note, there was a pretty good thread on Twitter that Ultra David put out when this news came out. And one of the things that he highlighted is that ironically, the fear that the rights holder will like take over like the tournament scene can't really happen with the FGC anymore, because the tournament organizers associated with these individual games collaborate closely enough that they're kind of like an informal union. Like if Capcom decided we're taking over Street Fighter, then like the Tekken TOs and like the Dragon Ball Fighter Z TOs would like say, oh, then we're not running our games on their tournaments either. And now like that pisses off Bandai Namco, and now like Capcom may have to contend with that. It's actually a really weird thing that happened. Riot is actually, since they're now like basically trying to make every kind of game, may end up being a monolith in like the exact opposite situation.
Interesting. Valorant just seemed to happen so fast. I didn't have a take ready, Rocky.
Well, sometimes that happens. Well, I mean, Valorant's still, like, once again, it's in a closed beta that you can only really get into by just hanging out on their streams. It's also still a PC-focused game.
Right.
So, like, it's just more like a test of brand loyalty at the moment. Like, it's not actually in the wild.
Right.
But, if it works out, like, it could be an interesting contender. Because a lot of players that have been with CSGO for, like, years, some the actual full decade, have been like moving over to Valorant because it's the next big thing. And they do want to do another shooter, but like people who are disgruntled with other games like Fortnite, like PUBG, like Overwatch are giving this a shot because it's the new thing. And they may be able to influence it into something that they like too, especially at this currently vulnerable stage. We're really far off from like understanding what any of this is really going to be like. But the groundwork, like this community competition guideline document, is one of like the first signs that we can try to figure out what things might look like. And, look backwards to see how things have played out in the past. Like, there's also a concern about Valorant that, like CSGO, they ran so many, like, online tournaments that were constantly promoted by the rights holder that it became really difficult to be a spectator of CSGO because there was just so much content that there was no real way that you could ever watch all of it. Like, and that's, you know, a first world problem. There were so many people playing at any given time and so many people competing at a certain level that it was worth watching. And a lot of people that, like, you know, would try to start watching something, they couldn't just go to one place. They'd get burnt out or confused or paralyzed. And, you know, maybe that happens with, like, Valorant, but maybe it doesn't. Because, you know, Riot Games has done probably some of the best esports programming in the past couple of years. You know, outside of the FGC stuff. I mean, you really can't be fighting game hype. But Riot's stuff is, like, controlled. They seem intelligent. And they usually have, like, stats and, like, quips ready. Like, it's almost like you're just watching something on ESPN.
I'm going to have to look around. Rocky, I need to gather more data.
For sure, man. Let's just move to the next story. What do you got?
Schreier's out at Kotaku.
Oh, yeah. That's right. He found a way out, it looks like.
Yeah. He had been big mad for a while.
Oh, yeah. Like, that whole Deadspin thing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Nelly. And, like, I had thought that at the time that, like, when, you know, Big Sinspan and those guys over at Deadspin were out, that, like, Schreier was going to go immediately. But, like, you know, I suppose it makes sense. Pregnant wife. You know, you're working on your second book. You know.
He's trying to do the responsible thing. He's a family man.
Yeah. So, he's leaving now.
Mm-hmm.
He says he's got a few weeks left of editing on his second book, and then it gets turned into his publisher. And then he is going to pop up at a new outlet.
True.
He will be staying in the industry. He's still going to be writing about the industry, new outlet. He's not saying what that outlet is. I'm trying to picture, like, at this point, he has such a reputation that I feel like places that can afford to pay for him are fewer than they would have been, like, say, 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's going to end up at Vice. My crack ship is actually like Jason Schreier x The Guardian, but who knows if that happens. But I'm pretty sure he'll end up at Vice. I'm kind of interested in seeing what his podcasting with, like, Hamilton and Myers is going to end up being like now that he's out at Kotaku, or from Kotaku.
Yeah, the fact that they're like, yeah, we're not going to have split screen, but the three of us are still going to podcast. That's an interesting thing to me as well. I'm not sure if I'm excited about the idea of Schreier at Vice. You know, like, now that Austin Walker is not running the gaming vertical anymore, there's still some exciting writers over there, but Vice has done a lot to, like, homogenize and consolidate their various verticals in the last, you know, year and a half. You know, they sanded off the edge of, like, a lot of their verticals, so that way they no longer have a unique identity. Like, Waypoint is no longer a Waypoint. It's vice.com/games. And now there's a whole bunch of stuff getting covered on the gaming vertical, which is not even remotely related to video games, not even like a relevant, like, cultural association way. Talking about how the recently released film Emma approaches humanizing the help in a different way has nothing to do with games or games culture or games impact on culture or culture's impact on games. Like, and they're not even, like, making an effort to, like, draw a connection. It's just like, yep, you know, this is content we're pushing out on Vice right now, so enjoy. Like, I know that, you know, Klepek is still there, Zachney is still there, and, like, Austin Walker does the podcast, but that's it. He's not an editor anymore. So, like, yeah, I mean, like, I could see him going there, but, like, Vice is a place which, like, takes away high-profile writers' identities, as opposed to, like, venerating and elevating them.
Well, I mean, we've definitely seen the effects of the latter, like, in mainstream media. I'm not exactly happy about that.
You know, like, Patrick Klepek, when he was at Kotaku, and Patrick Klepek, when he was at Giant Bomb, was a name to be reckoned with.
Sure.
But now it feels a lot less that way. They've kind of, like, sanded the edges off, and they're like, okay, here's a Patrick Klepek article. We could have had anybody write this. You know, same goes for, like, Rob Zachney. So, like, I would be much more on board with your fantasy booking of seeing him at the Guardian. We'll see.
For sure.
Yeah.
Our next story, it started as a rumor, but basically, the latest Cooking Mama game, Cooking Mama Cookstar, was on the Nintendo Switch eShop at the end of March. But, like, only for a couple of hours. It was pulled down, like, almost immediately. There were, you know, some rumors, like, falling around it, what happened afterwards. Like, people weren't able to find physical copies. Then there was rumors about cryptocurrency software running in the background. There were questions, but now we have a couple more answers. It turns out that the company that was enlisted to create the next Cooking Mama game, Cooking Mama Cookstar, Planet Entertainment, released the game for sale in the US, Europe, and Australia. But that release was unauthorized. It wasn't supposed to come out, and it was in breach of Planet Entertainment's contract with Office Create. They were working on the game, and Office Create didn't feel like it was up to par, that it wasn't worthy of the Cooking Mama name, and so they told them to go back to work on it in late 2019. And it also appears that Planet Entertainment was also working on a PS4 version of Cookstar, but that wasn't a part of the license that Planet Entertainment received. And in addition, Office Create was not aware nor involved with the PS4 Cooking Mama game. Yeah. And so on the 30th, Planet Entertainment put out the game anyways. Office Create notified Planet that this wasn't what we're going to do, terminated their license, and got Nintendo to take it down. Since then, we haven't heard much about what's the current status of the latest Cooking Mama game, nor have we heard any updates on the unauthorized PS4 version of the game. It looks like that this may end up playing out in the courts, but, you know, there's no lawsuit that has been filed yet, but, you know, we'll keep an eye on it.
Damn.
Yeah, rip them.
I wonder if there's anything Nintendo could have done as a platform holder. I don't suppose there's any kind of, like, simple legal test for, hey, do you actually have the rights for this?
I mean, there probably is, but I think the way that it works is just that they assumed that the license was still in play.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as that we could tell, like, it was, because it was terminated on the 30th.
Right.
So it was like right when, like, Office Create realized, hey, this is up, and we're like, what the fuck? It shouldn't be. They call Nintendo takes it down. Because, I mean, like, otherwise, like, it just seems like it would become more cumbersome to, like, release things, especially on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
That would be in direct opposition to one of their strengths at the current moment. I'm personally just looking forward to the first video game related lawsuit that mentions the coronavirus as an excuse. Cause, like, you know, Planet's gonna pull it. Like, they're just gonna be like, well, we didn't know if we were gonna be able to make our investment back. They said that we had to keep working on it, and we didn't know when we were gonna be able to release with the, you know, the global pandemic, and it's gonna be a whole thing. And I want to see how that plays out. I want to see who wins that.
I, too, look forward to the first video game pandemic lawsuit. We've already had our, in these uncertain times, we're delaying video games which are completely done and sitting in boxes in warehouses.
Yeah.
Because we want to be able to sell more games in boxes and warehouses.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the line that was used by Naughty Dog and Sony was they want people to be able to play The Last of Us Part 2 together and without worry.
Just let me play my post-apocalyptic video game. Holy shit. Oh, man. Okay. I have one more story. Brian, I don't know if you had a third story. Do you have a third story?
I don't.
Okay. Well, I have one more story. The Getty Museum has made over 70,000 paintings available in Animal Crossing. Let me explain. They didn't actually work with Nintendo. Instead, there is an open source image converter that Getty Museum has created a new site to work with that allows you to search the various artworks that are in the Getty Museum, or, you know, a digital representation, allow you to run it through this open source program that generates a QR code like there was in New Leaf that you can use in conjunction with the Nintendo Switch Online app to send a pattern to your game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So They made a website that allows you to search by keyword and by name the digital representations of the paintings that are in their collection. And they also have a secondary tool that you can use to convert any image.
Mm-hmm.
I played around with it a bit. It does well with vibrant colors because, vibrant colors work well in pixel art. But, you can't really get, nuanced colors that well.
Right.
So, it probably discounts a significant percentage of that 70K. But, the tools are there. You can fuck with it if you want to.
That does kind of sound like it's worth fucking with.
I got, 20 or so, paintings that I pulled out, in research for this story. And I've put a couple of them into my game. Some look better than others. I'm going to have to, overwrite some of them because, some of them are borderline unusable, but some of them are really good. They look like good pieces.
Gosh. I need to do more fucking around with the custom designs thing.
Oh, man. Dude, there's a lot of really good ones. I, have taken to copying the design thing that shows up whenever I see one on Twitter. Mm-hmm. I have so far gotten designs for some of my favorite Monster Hunter monsters. I'm still missing Zinogre, so if you see a Zinogre one, let me know, everyone. I have hoodies designed after said monsters in addition to the initial patterns. I actually got a design of the back tattoo from 4Ds. And what else did I get? Oh, I got an album cover for one of my favorite city pop acts, Night Tempo. I kind of want to get one for Macross 8299.
So can you only save one at a time?
On the app, yes. What'll happen is that, you'll scan a QR code,
mm-hmm.
and, the app will be able to transfer one design into your game. And then you can take that design and then you can put in another one. But if you use, the kiosk, in the Able Sisters shop, you basically get a code that you can just, start, putting them in. It's still not in mass. You can't, have, a cart yet. I swear to God, once Animal Crossing gets carts, it's gonna be bananas. You can basically take a design and just, put it into one of your slots.
So, all right. So, let's say I've got a 3x3 grid that I want to input.
Okay.
I can get one from the app, import it, then get another one from the app, import it, get another one from the app, import it.
That's how it currently works, yes.
Okay. Which requires having my Switch, my phone, and yet a third screen to scan the QR codes off of.
That's correct.
That's fun.
It's definitely cumbersome, yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking about making a big Tiger King thing for my house.
For sure, man. Yeah. I've known a couple of e-girls apparently turn their some of their glamour shots into 5x5 patterns. I think is the biggest one I've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty good, actually. But it's a whole thing.
Yeah, I've seen some real unsavory ones. I'm
yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, it's we've put Goatsy into Animal Crossing.
Fuck, get wrecked.
Is it time to talk about what came out on Steam today?
Yeah, dude, let's do it.
All right. So, we're recording on a Sunday, so this is a little bit of a different mix than we usually see. All right, so it looks like there are 10 games out today.
For sure.
One that hops out to me is Corona Fighter.
Oh, sure.
A coronavirus-themed shoot-'em-up in classic arcade tradition. This looks like a shitty shmup where you are shooting the coronavirus.
Okay. I mean, I guess.
Clear the patient's nasal passages of virus and infected cells to win. The developers are listed as Aaron Calhoun and Noah Calhoun. Also today we have Another Try. The virus has devastated cities and lands. You are one of the last survivors. You'll have to survive in a harsh post-apocalyptic world populated by the living dead. Okay, so this is a asset flip with a coronavirus theme.
Well, that's terrible. I hate it.
Do we have an over-under on how many of these are going to involve the coronavirus?
At least 50%.
Night Royale. Night Royale is a indie retro PvP pixel game to play from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for indie retro PvP.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Looks bad. But at least they don't mention the virus.
Okay. I mean, I figured it'd be like a shitty Nidhogg clone or something.
It looks like a shitty Nidhogg clone.
Oof, got him.
Next up is Car Dealer. Buy, sell, and manage the world's most popular auto gallery. Sell vehicles, grow your auto gallery, make it the most popular in the world. Watch out, thieves are all around. You can purchase various measures for your car gallery, such as bodyguards and security cameras. Mm-hmm. There are many people and places to interact with in the city that meet your various needs. You can make a website by agreeing with freelancers.
By agreeing with freelancers?
You can attract more customers to your auto gallery by buying fake reviews.
Okay, fuck.
You can explore the city and set up your big auto gallery. Okay. And in the preview video, there is somebody who's got like what looks like a room with a dirty mattress in it and concrete walls, and then they go wandering around the city. Then they find a place to play poker?
Okay.
So, and this is also entirely an asset flip. Next up is Imitation, the 8th Suicide Note.
What?
A first-person search-type horror game developed for developers. Use the night vision Reen. I don't know what they like. It appears to be not a word. Reen, slide, and other actions to find 8 items in the facility. Content that can be gameplayed in a short time. Players need to have a recording camera, fly around the facility, and collect 8 items. Playtime is relatively short. Developers are virtual people.
Sure.
Next up is Coronavirus Evolution.
Here we go.
Choose a character and fight online to get the maximum antidote and cure as many coronavirus characters as possible. Appears to be a platform fighter.
Okay.
Mosquitoes and Zombies.
Mm-hmm.
You'll play as a knight who rides his horse to beat the enemies and destroys them on his way using his sharp sword. The developers listed as Leush Dmitry Sergevich. So I'm wondering, like, now that I'm seeing like more names for developers that are just people, if they have changed the bar by which they'll list a company name for a game. Swoosh. Let's look at this one. Xenovators. Arcade classic games are back. Test your skills shooting away the Xenovator hordes and clean the stages wave after wave in this frantic shoot 'em up from alternate 1980s.
What's alternate about this alternate 1980s?
It just looks like an 80s style arcade shooter. They've made like cabinet art around the thing as if like you're playing in a physical arcade and you could see the cabinet.
Uh-huh.
So there's like kind of like glare up in a corner, and then you can see the key art, and then like, so it looks like they're trying to recreate the experience of playing at a physical arcade cabinet.
I feel like they're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Wait,
actually, you know what I haven't heard about in a while?
What's that?
That dumbass Capcom, like, triple fight stick thing?
Yeah, you know, I haven't heard anything about that either.
I wonder if that's coming back. Okay, go ahead. Go on.
You know, I think that's about it. Like, none of these really stand out.
Yeah, so what we ended up with, what, like 40% coronavirus picks?
Yeah. I think that does it for us today.
Yeah, I think that's us.
I'm excited about the premiere of the new Pendleton Ward show tonight.
The what?
You know about Pendleton Ward?
Those words sound familiar.
Okay. Pendleton Ward is a artist who created a show called Adventure Time.
Ah, yes.
Yes. And out of nowhere, 3 days ago, he announced that, like, not only do I have a development deal with Netflix, I have a show with Netflix, and it's going to premiere at midnight on the 20th.
Wild. And
so, like, they released, like, one trailer for it. The show's called The Midnight Gospel, and Netflix has, like, currently got a countdown up until, like, The Midnight Gospel premieres. And I'm like, all right, fine, you got me. It's quarantine times. A countdown clock means I can distinguish this time from other times, so I'll stare at your countdown clock.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, it's also probably pretty good timing, especially since, like, Steven Universe just ended.
Yep. It definitely has the vibe. If they were looking for like a next trippy, quasi-surrealist animated show, which air quotes appeals to children, like this one might be it.
True.
Rocky, take us home.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Hey, everyone. Tegan's not here, but this is still Impossible Coin, and we still do this show every week. We do it for you. If you're looking for it or you want to tell other people how to find it, just let them know that it's wherever podcasts are found. They can go to iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, or whatever podcatcher they use, and they can find us. Impossible Coin. There's music in the beginning and end of this podcast. It's produced by our friend Big Sach. You can find his work at soundcloud.com/BigSachNJ, or you can drop him a line on Twitter at Hillary_Swank. Our t-shirt and logo were designed by Lauren Moran. You can find her on Twitter at Lauren Moran. And consider donating to her Patreon. You know, she does good work. Speaking of Patreon, we have one too. It's currently patreon.com/Impossible Coin Podcast. Maybe one day it'll be /Impossible Coin, but you know, who knows, man? The world might not even be here in a week. Or not a week. What is it? A year? Months? What's time? Who cares? But we are on social media. Brian's on Facebook and Patreon. I'm on Twitter. Tegan's on Tumblr. It's all Impossible Coin. No underscores or spaces or any of that weird nonsense. In fact, if you see any of those, let us know, because we probably want to do something about that. They're definitely imposters, and we're really about taking down our doppelgangers. But that's us. That's the show.
Yep. As far as the doppelgangers go, hey, British Brian, I heard that Freedom Pizza is extending their lunch club to all customers during lockdown, so get that discount pizza, friend.
Yeah, man, fuck it up.
Yeah, peace.
This is where Tegan says bye, and I say later.
It's official. You suck.